Hey everyone, Laura here, and it's time for another game of Worst MAGA Hag of the Month. There's always a few around to choose from. Whew. And this time, first up, we've got the dumbass and dangerous disgrace Nancy Mace, who embarrassed herself at least 3 times in as many days. When a reporter asked her a question she didn't like, she flipped out and turned her response into a personal attack, of course, playing the victim, and her response to her smile disappeared. She called the reporter a radical leftist, and how dare she, as a woman, challenge another woman with an actual question that requires a response.
You think it's okay for politicians who
The
don't
federal
vote for them
federal
to
government,
take credit for...
It's literally our job to make sure that our states get the appropriations that they need when the money is assigned and spent in grant funding.
Anybody, even when they vote against it.
I vote against almost every spending bill I've ever had before me because of the wasteful spending. This government has spent money on transgender surgeries for kids. It spent money on putting men in women's prisons. We've spent over $26 million at the NIH to castrate mice and test them on a date rape drug. So I, of course, would vote against a bill that did something outrageous like that. But when there's money being appropriated by the federal government, it is literally our job to make sure that we help organizations, government entities, state and local, get those appropriations by supporting them with letters of support. And that's what my office says. That's literally part of the job of being a member of Congress. So maybe you're confused. Okay. You're very confused. And you're a raging Democrat, so raging leftist with that kind of questioning. And I would say as a woman, you might want to think about how you view other women and how you treat other women, the way that you question them, because women are going to lead this country off the brink, and conservative women. The first female president of this country is going to be a conservative woman, not some liberal like you.
Then she was humiliated in her home state at an event organized by the Moms of Liberty, where nobody came to see her speak. According to The Independent, the event organizers had urged people to RSVP in advance to hear Mace discuss protecting parental rights at the event hosted by the far-right group in Lahore County, warning that seating is limited. Well, it turns out there were plenty of seats after all, so it's only 8 people showed up. Old Nance didn't take the stage, but her handlers told the organizers that she would meet with the attendees individually. No word on whether that actually happened, but she did take time to boast to reporters about dominating the polls in her run for governor of South Carolina. Her team published findings from a poll conducted this month among 600 Republican voters that show Mace leads the way in a 5-way contest by 25%. But she really jumped the shark on Monday night after a report of an active shooter at the University of South Carolina campus library, which prompted an evacuation. The suspect had been described as a white male with black pants, approximately 6 feet tall, and still in the area. Students and faculty were told to seek shelter or evacuate. And though the alert turned out to be false and no threat really existed, Nancy decided she was going to play the role of the host of USC's Most Wanted. She had posted a grainy black and white surveillance photo of a young man who seemed to fit the description, and called him the alleged shooter. The poor man was found and was carrying what turned out to be an umbrella. But she really put that kid's life at risk. Anyway, she deleted the post, but she spun the screw-up into another victimhood story about herself, posting that real or hoax or a mistake, now would be an appropriate time to talk about hardened security at schools of all grades, colleges and universities. This was a terrifying experience for students on campus. Yeah. And their families? Yeah. Many are confused after being told there was an active shooter. Some are even afraid to return. Mace, who has a child at the university, later added, "As the mom of a student at USC, tonight was terrifying. Frantically calling my child to see if they were at the library or barricaded somewhere else on campus, making sure that they and their roommate were safe. Your heart just drops to the ground for a minute and you can't breathe. But you can post, right?" Adding, "South Carolina first." I'm not trying to discount the experience of those involved. I mean, it's horrifying and terrifying, of course, but this bitch. Well, next we have swingers ICE Barbie and Kristi Corey Ken Lewandowski Hansy. Crispy and Hans have some splaining to do about her personal life and with her de facto chief of staff and long-rumored lover Corey Hans Lewandowski. Oh boy, that guy's a piece of something. In April, the Daily Mail published another report claiming Noem and Lewandowski were living in rental apartments across the street from each other in the Navy Yard neighborhood of Washington, D.C. A resident of Noem's building said they've seen them together in both the elevator and in common areas. The Mail published photos that it claimed showed Lewandowski leaving Noem's apartment complex with a duffel bag. I mean, they are, yeah. Everybody knows. But anyhow, the Wall Street Journal reported that Lewandowski denied the alleged affair. And for her part, Noem posted on Twitter, now, "These old tired attacks on conservative women are based on a falsehood that we can't achieve anything without a man's help." Wait a minute, I thought he worked for her. Anyway, Noem tweeted, "I love my husband, Brian. I'm proud of the God-fearing family we've raised together. Now I'm getting back to work." Well, the rumored hanky-panky's pretty gross to think about. It's the least of the pair's dirty secrets together. According to multiple sources, Corey might be gaming the system to try and hold on to this sweet, cushy boudoir buddy temporary appointment by undercounting his hours. Lewandowski was given the special government employee designation, which allows him to work for the federal government for 130 days over the year. White House officials began monitoring Lewandowski's time at work in recent weeks, Axios has learned. One White House official told Axios that, "We're hearing that Corey's doing everything, failing to swipe in, working from home, whatever, to undercount his days. It's fair to say his work is being watched now." The Department of Homeland Security told Axios that Lewandowski has worked for 69 days since he was hired, shortly after she was sworn in, which they believe is a significant undercount. Oh boy, SGEs can be in senior positions and still have private employment and clients, unlike typical government workers at departments that handle hundreds of millions of dollars of contracts. During the campaign, Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita were irked by Lewandowski's efforts to constantly assert himself in high-level decisions, often taking his opinions directly to Trump during the campaign, and they felt his actions threatened to subvert a carefully crafted dynamic that Wiles and LaCivita cultivated for the previous 2 years. Earlier in August, Lewandowski was at Noem's side during meetings in Argentina on her South American swing, and later participated in a bilateral meeting with the Chilean and Ecuadorian officials, along with senior Homeland Security officials. Lewandowski has directed the firings of personnel, requested employees be put on administrative leave, called agency leaders to hold them accountable, and in at least one instance, signed off on billions of dollars in FEMA grant funding. So, our final MAGA Hag thing of the month. Pardon me while I get my barf bag ready.
Oh, hell no!
The winner is, of course, that lying convicted sex trafficker and child abuser Ghislaine Maxwell, who, if you've been lucky to avoid it, has been licking old Von Shits and Pants booty for a pardon, has already succeeded in being transferred to a country club minimum security prison, despite not being eligible as a sexual predator, and worse, the facility is in with walking distance of a high school, and she may even be considered for work release. Good God. And in the release of the transcripts from her jailhouse interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Whiteout Blanche, she actually manipulated the story and blamed a dead woman for everything. She told the lawyers that the deceased Virginia Giuffre was behind introducing her massage girls to Epstein. They redacted Giuffre's name in the transcripts, but they published the name of her former boyfriend, so everyone would know who she was talking about.
Of Epstein's most prominent accuser furious with the Trump administration.
That's right.
After the Justice Department released audio and transcripts of an interview with Ghislaine Maxwell.
After that release, the family of Virginia Roberts Giuffre now speaking out, saying they are outraged by the DOJ's interview with Maxwell. Giuffre died by suicide in April, and information she provided to law enforcement was actually critical in securing Maxwell's conviction for sex trafficking, a charge and conviction that Maxwell's attorney maintains that despite the conviction, she is not guilty of. The Giuffre family statement reads in part, during Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's bizarre interview, she is never challenged about her court-proven lies, providing her a platform to rewrite history.
Yes.
This travesty of justice entirely invalidates the experiences of the many brave survivors who put their safety, security, and lives on the line to ensure her conviction, including our sister. They also then went on to criticize the DOJ for transferring Maxwell from a Florida prison to a lower security camp in Texas after the interview, saying it sends a disturbing message.
Well, what a sordid, selfish, and soulless bunch of cunts. Hey, don't forget, we've got a Patreon, and soon the Northern Drain will be hosting some shows there, so if you want to join us over there, it's going to be lots of fun. Like, subscribe, check out our other social media in the links below. Cheers!
Ground news has very quickly become one of my most prized resources, my go-to even, because I get to find out what stories are not covered by the blind spot feature, which I love, but not just the blind spot feature. Any of the stories that I bring up, I can see what either side is saying about it. I can also see who's paying for those headlines. It tells me who owns the publication, which also lets me know who they're writing it for. Many times, none of that is for us, but understanding the context helps us understand the story. Ground news is absolutely one of, if not the best way to know that you've gotten every side of a story and that there's not enough spin in the world that could have you misinterpret it. Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war, not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education, and we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind, the kind that moves. But here's the thing, none of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're gonna pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads, it's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works. Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.